This is Forbidden Speech, the raw truth, with your host, Christina Rivera. In this savvy broadcasting series, we delve into hot topics affecting us all. With cancel culture and big tech censoring any opposing ideas and thoughts outside of mainstream ideology, it has become more important than ever that we tell the raw truth about everything from U.S. world politics, COVID, Christianity, and everything in between. We invite all points of view to come and share their perspective honestly and respectfully. Hi, Vivianne Knebel. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting, Forbidden Speech, the Raw Truth. We're so grateful to have you here today. We're here this wonderful Christmas crisp morning. Well, at least here in Texas, a little crisp. And we're going to share your story. You've written two wonderful books. The first one is a memoir, From Rubble to Champagne. It talks deeply about some of this real deep struggles you went from in Berlin, Germany during World War II. And then even more so, the lessons you've learned through life that you've been able to apply from more of a spiritual level, lessons learned about life and love, living with intention and with wisdom from great minds. Oh my gosh, and you are a great mind. You have so much to share with our audience. But before we go there, what even prompted you to write your books? What was your
strange thing, Christina? It's a good question because I'm 79 years old and I'll be 80 this coming year. I mean, in May, and was the time where I, really reflected on my life, and I thought, my life has really been a life from tragedy to triumph. And then as I reflected, I always was grateful for my husband who turned my whole life around, who believed in me. And so when he turned 80, I wrote this book, my memoir, my life story, as a dedication, as a gratitude for all that he's done for me, for all that he has enabled me to do, for believing in me, because I had very low self-esteem. And he actually encouraged me not just to live, but to thrive. And that is why I wrote this book, as a token of appreciation. So that's how this book came about.
Wow.
Because I think gratitude is such a big deal.
It is.
We need to be grateful for the people that come into our lives and change it for the better.
Yeah. And you know what, Vivianne, it's such an important message here because the belief in someone, you never know how powerful it is to believe in someone when they can't believe in themselves, for whatever reason at that moment.
Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, I had a teacher back in high school who I didn't have much self-confidence either. And those couple of words he gave me really helped me in my young adulthood.
Powerful. It can be so powerful, and how one person can change your life. If it falls on fertile soil, and it's a beautiful thing. It really gives life meaning.
Yeah. And so, we talked just briefly before we hit the go button that it was really, really tough for you. Your memoirs go over the fact that you were, during World War II, and you're going through struggle and hunger and fear and all of this. It was just a horrible time, but you wanted to commit suicide at times, but you came out the other end. How did that work out? Well,
that was actually later as I grew up. I was born at the height of Nazi Germany, at the height in the epicenter in Berlin.
Wow.
And I do not remember the war itself, but I remember the aftermath, where the destruction was, it was only destruction and poverty and hunger. And I was born as an illegitimate child. My mom had two children. We were both illegitimate, and we were not given the nationality of as a German citizen, even though we were born in Germany. And so we grew up without a country. So that is another thing that can really work on your self-esteem. All this makes a mark on you. But my mother was the most loving mother, and she instilled so much love and good values in us. So I'm most grateful that I had the mother I had. She worked the black market to keep us alive. and kept us from being killed by falling bombs and Soviet attacks and running into the shelters, into the bunkers. And so it was very tough. And then at the age of 13, we seeked a better life. And so my mother immigrated to Canada. And when we arrived in Canada, the first winter, we went hungry again because my stepfather was not, my mother married later on, he was not on command of the English language. And he was a custom tailor by profession. And he couldn't get a job that first winter. So we went hungry again. And my mother, being so resourceful, took me by the hand into a church. And we explained the broken English to the priest our plight. And he gave us $35 in order to survive, to buy the staples, rice and flour and so on. So it was tough there too. And then I asked my mother, I wanted to help the family. And when I turned 14, said, let me go to work. So she obtained a special permit for me to go to work because of that child labor law. And I got a job at a dentist. And one of his friends, I experienced sexual abuse at the age of 14. So that was traumatic and it was just tough. And at the age of 17, I started to lose the belief in my dream. My mother did one thing. She steered us right. She said, always have a dream, always have hope. You know,
What
and
was
she
your
always
dream
said, look,
before that time? What was your dream that you started
it's
to lose
just
hope in?
the dream before. Well, I would say come out ahead, have a comfortable life,
Yeah.
and find happiness,
Yeah.
But when you're 17, this was the age of 17, it's a very, very delicate age. And I thought, no matter what I do, it doesn't seem to, with all the traumatic other experiences, sexual abuse and all that with the workplace, I started to spiral into deep depression. And, this is my message also to young people. Remember, when you're unhappy, life is not static, it changes.
Yeah.
Even if we don't want it to, it changes. So believe it, change is coming, the better is coming. So I actually tried to commit suicide going into a garage where I heard when you start the motor and close the garage door, the carbon monoxide would render you unconscious. And that's exactly what I did. And I was miraculously saved by a little girl. She must have been around 6 years old. And she asked me, what are you doing? It was a duplex garage. It was just my car, in that garage that I had rented. I had already purchased a car since I'd been already working for a while, a used car. So, yeah. And then I clung to a glimmer of hope, which I say, hope is so important.
Yeah.
Never lose hope. And, uh, put one foot in front of the other, did the best I could. And then I met my husband at the age of 20, and he turned my whole life around.
Wow.
And my life changed completely. He believed in me, encouraged me to learn and grow. And I just believed, then I started believing in myself. And it is actually a beautiful story. And it is worth, that it gave him this gift that I wrote this book because we need to appreciate but it was very, very, very tough existence at that time. And then my husband always was the wind beneath my wings. And like I said, he became very successful in real estate and in his business. And he encouraged me, why don't you try flying a plane? I may buy a plane, so that's how I took flying lessons. Someone that did not believe in herself at all. And I just, all of a sudden I got this power, so it was beautiful. And I walked that long path to self-discovery and self-fulfillment. And I read a lot of books because I was always a seeker and a searcher. I always wanted to understand, and these books, they help me so much. The wisdom, even poems, they really instill values. They
Yeah.
really instill values. And yeah, and I applied their wisdom, and my life became better and better. And it actually, uh, I have the most beautiful life. What it is now
Mm.
is I reach that inner fulfillment. I
Mm.
have that inner dignity of a truly fulfilled and loved life,
That's awesome.
which which is wealth. That is the greatest wealth
Yes.
other than your health.
Yeah,
This is the
there's plenty
greatest
of
wealth.
people who have a loads of money who are truly
Yeah,
unhappy, both spiritually and otherwise, and mentally. But
yes.
you know what I'm gathering also from your story, what a beautiful partnership your marriage to your husband was, because often today they try to talk to women and men who needs marriage and partnership. You could do it
So
yourself.
sad. I
And
think, well, yeah,
yeah,
if you
and I'm
find the
thinking,
right partner,
yeah, yeah,
then it's great.
but also I think the idea of you can do it yourself, whether you get married or not, is a false a myth, because really any great accomplishment in life is going to take partnerships, even with other people.
Connections.
Yeah, connection,
Connections are so
relationship.
important,
Yeah.
and family,
Yeah.
the importance, the value of family and love and deep purpose.
Mm.
This is the meaning of life, you
Yeah.
know. This is the meaning of life, and all it is today, or in many cases, not all, but I'm saying that that hedonic treadmill, people
Mm.
just start competing,
Yeah.
and all these other things don't seem to matter. But love is the greatest power we can aspire to, you
I,
know, and to find it
mhm.
is a beautiful thing. But then when you have it, you also need to work on it. It's not just physical love.
Yeah.
It has so many facets. It's nurturing, a sense of responsibility. That is what you have in a marriage.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
a beautiful, beautiful thing. If it doesn't work, well, you can part. You did not sell yourself. You can part. You should do all your best to make it work. If it doesn't at all, then part. But there doesn't have to be this meanness.
Mhm.
You can
Yeah.
let go in a gentle manner.
Kind way.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. And
I
you know what
believe
I'm
in kindness.
absolutely. And you know what I'm getting also is that this idea of we can do it ourselves. I don't need anyone else. Well, everyone, any great company, business person didn't reach there by themselves. They had a team of people, or a husband or a wife or a family behind them. And, also we talked just before the interview during the whole COVID, how depressed a lot of people got. And I think part of that was the loss of connection. Our modern life has done a lot to disconnect us,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
and I think that disconnectiveness, when you were set with this coming about, people didn't have the tools to deal with it because they didn't have the relationships, the
I'm
love, the
telling you,
family. Yeah,
Christina, that is so true what you're just saying,
yeah,
because this world is in a crisis.
yeah,
We have these overdeveloped instruments. We can do
mm,
anything, but we cannot deal with ourselves.
yeah, yeah.
Think about it. So when this COVID broke out, maybe there was somewhat of a blessing, because it forced people to turn inward, to
Yeah.
reflect on their lives and say, what is really important? What really matters?
Mm,
So I believe things happen for a reason. You just have to be aware. I think
mm.
attention, attention, attention. It is so important to pay attention as we go through life.
Wow.
And I am aware of everything. I'm also aware of the energy that I radiate outwards. Be aware of it, pay attention,
Mm,
and do a self check every once in a while. Do self inventory.
mhm,
Is this the way I want to be? Is this how I want to go through life? It We are the master here. You know,
mm.
we
Yep.
This is self mastery. It's really what it is.
Yeah. And it never ends. I think people look in this
Unending.
modern life to, oh, when I get to that VP position, or I write a book, or wherever it might be. And it's always chasing that outward thing
Yes.
without realizing that you'll get there, but will you be fulfilled? And it's all about
Yeah.
building, as you say, your self mastery, which is a life endeavor. It's not like, oh, I reached there, I'm done.
Yeah. You totally get me. You totally understand, Christina.
Yeah.
It is a continuity constantly. We go through phases,
Mm,
and every phase has its own. Every stage in life has its own
mm,
uh, atmosphere, its own face.
Yeah.
And like I said, next year I will be 80, and I think I feel I'm very healthy. I feel full of energy, and I feel, oh, there's an emerging energy and wisdom to do something new, which I'm doing. I have my own podcast. I have my documentary out in the film festival. So I'm constantly a mover and a shaker, but I'm very concerned about doing good, moving forward,
Mhm.
in a way that is mindful and
Yeah.
virtuous, but also I want to be in control and aware of it,
Mhm.
and that is living a full life.
Yeah.
And so I'm not afraid of age coming, getting older. On the contrary, I see it as strength. I see
Mm.
it as wisdom. And this is how I look at life in anything. Where's the good here?
Yeah.
Like you age and you things are taken from you, and this is a normal process, but it gives you back as much.
Yeah. Yeah. And
See the good, find the good.
yes, and I'm seeing in your story the real essence of hope, and not to lose faith in it, because as difficult as things got in your life, as you said, it's a season, it passes, and the good comes, and
Yes,
and again, more troubles will show in the future, because it's always like an ebb and flow, like waves in
it
an
is.
ocean.
It is the most normal thing. We can have no life without challenges and adversities. It is part of life. But how we cope with it,
Yeah.
that's the big difference. It's when they say this old saying, you see the glass half full, or the glass, half empty or half
Yeah.
full.
Hmm.
Uh, or I'm even just glad to have a glass,
Yeah.
that sort of thing, that
Exactly.
sort of thing. So I encourage people, no matter how hard, how tough your situations are, look for the little crumb of good,
Mm.
concentrate on that, because thoughts increase.
Hmm.
If you want to be negative, it'll suck you in, and stay negative, it'll suck you into that dark void. If you
Yeah.
go positive, if you know you have a choice, you
Mm.
become the magnet of choice. I choose to be positive.
Yeah. And it's so true. When you're in that really funky mood and you're just like, everything sucks. And one thing after another seems to go wrong on that day as you keep focusing on all this negative
Yes,
stuff. But I recall there was many years ago, my sister and I had a really bad day. It was a tough family day. And I just woke up in a totally foul mood and I was hollering at her. And one thing after another, the car broke down, just a whole bunch of stuff. And then in the middle of the day, we just took a pause. We went for lunch. We started talking. We started laughing about how silly things were, that we were
yeah,
fighting about things. And then all of a sudden, I noticed that the whole energy of the day changed. And it
yes,
would all
yes.
that really changed is how we approached it and how we were dealing with it. Not so much the life around us. It didn't change. We changed and how we
It
approached
is
it.
all in the mind. It's
Yeah.
all in the mind. And there's an incredible, the power of thought is incredible. And when they say you are what you think, those are not empty words.
Yeah.
you know think good thoughts, play the right thoughts in your mind. and
Mhm.
and it maybe, I kind of feel I have tapped into a source of inspiration that sustains all my needs.
Mm. Yeah.
I will just be away from negativity. I want to be informed. The war, we need to be informed. Everything, we need to be informed about life, but
Mhm.
you don't have to dwell and stay there.
Get sucked into it. Yeah.
Go to that sunny side. Look
Yeah.
at the turn your face toward the sunshine.
Yeah.
That is my philosophy.
Well, what I get from hope here is that when this all happened with COVID a couple of years ago, I've since we moved to a new town, a new city in Texas, and we've met a whole group of array of friends that are deep and positive. And so
Beautiful.
you find a community. If things happen in your life, let's say, maybe your dear husband or wife die, or your God forbid, we had a recent guest where her child died, and for 2 years
Oh,
she
that's
said
yeah,
it was the
tough.
most horrible thing. But she's
Oh, yes.
taken that horrible event and turned it into purpose and is now giving hope to the world with that horrible event. So, I mean, you can go on no matter how difficult it
So
is.
she
And
is giving even that terrible experience, she is giving that meaning,
yeah,
because it's about hope and purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And so she's turning that around, and instead of letting that horrible past destroy her,
Yeah.
she decides to use it as a powerful tool to help others.
Yes.
That's how we really, if we understand, we can find immense happiness. And also in the small things, you can, the everyday things, you can derive immense satisfaction from just watching the sunset or watching nature,
Yeah.
through family, through love, through even setting your table. Be grateful for the food that you can put on there, because look at what's going on. So many people freezing and hunger and all that. I always look at it. Look, I feel rich. I feel so rich that way. And have faith and be optimistic and positive, and because that cheers you on in everything you do. And faith allows us to go through life with more determination.
And you mentioned something else, not only keeping a positive mindset, which will keep you out of falling into the deep abyss of negativity,
Yes.
but also you mentioned how healthy you feel. And I think right now what people can do, besides paying attention to their mental health and staying away from all the negativity mentally, is that to keep your body as healthy as possible. No matter where you are at, there's small steps to increase health, and that will give you empowerment to weather out any difficult times.
Christina, absolutely. Because you have this vessel, this is your house you live in. I believe so much. When I look at people, I first look at their soul. I feel their soul. But we have this vessel. This is when we have an obligation to take care of it. You don't poison it, with the alcohol and drugs and whatever. You take care of it as far as doing enough healthy exercise. You eat right. All these things are very empowering then, because you have to have a healthy body, a healthy mind with a healthy body.
Yeah.
It is important to take responsibility there too.
Yeah. And I find when you do treat your body healthily, it helps to keep your mind healthy, because I think when you're unhealthy or feel, have a lot of health issues, it's hard to be positive when you're in that state. So,
it is very, and also it's sometimes also I can understand when things come crashing down on you, when they have the upper hand. It's very hard to keep going. But even with the worst that I've gone through, I've seen the harsh realities, and I know how cruel and raw life can be. And yet, one must always know there's the beauty of love that awaits always all of us. We must never forget that. So I focus on that, and it is amazing how you can have a beautiful life and also stay healthier, I believe.
Yeah.
Because what you inside, if you are contaminated inside, like I really feel our mind is our kingdom. We allow what we want to soak up. I will not allow others with negative feelings and to contaminate, to make my within a pig pen. I will not allow it to be a pig pen. I will only entertain this goodness.
Yeah. Because stewing in the darkness is going to do what for you? As you said, acknowledging what's going on, being aware of what's going on, so you're not, head in sand, because that's not helpful when bad comes, and then you're like, whoa, where did this come from?
Then you're ignorant. You do not want to be ignorant. No. You want to be informed. I'm all for that, but focus. Really, go to the happy place. Go to the good side of life, and have set goals, achievable goals, which I do. It really gives energizes you when you set achievable goals, and then let go, because a lot of times we set goals, we want to achieve something, and it doesn't pan out well. As long as you do your best, put your best out there, and then let go. And if it's supposed to, we're not always in control. We need to realize that, we're not always going to be in control. So sometimes we will be successful, but I think it's always success, because and there is no failure in my view, because all you go out there and you try something. If it doesn't pan out, well, you created You created a result.
Yeah. Well,
That's all you did.
also some of the greatest inventions or things that were created took a whole bunch of failure. And sometimes if you look at it as this is one step closer to my ultimate success, and you learn from it.
Yes.
We could go on for hours, Vivianne. I know. I'm so grateful for you coming today on Savvy. I don't want us to leave though without everyone finding out how they can get their very own copy of both your books, From Rubble to Champagne.
I have a website. It's vivianneknebel.com, and there's everything on there.
Wow.
And
awesome.
you could, through Amazon, you can, my book is available for Amazon, very easy, but if they go to my website, it's all in there.
All right. Vivianne Knebel, go to VivianneKnebel.com for anyone who's listening on the audio so they know where to go. I just have to thank you again, Vivianne, for coming to Savvy Broadcasting and sharing your great wisdom today. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. And have a beautiful Christmas with peace and love and joy forever.
You too. Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more Forbidden Speech or Savvy episodes, visit SavvyBroadcasting.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.